But I want to stick to the plan. I mean, because I am, as you can see, it's still dark outside. So um, I still want to stick to the plan because I got some things to do. I'm at actually at a work location. So y'all see my work location? You see my work location for the day? But I still have folks like all around me that are sleeping. So I don't want to wake them up. What's up? What's up? What's up? How's it going? So you all, thank you so much, first of all, for coming in, letting us know where you are, tapping on the screen, making your comments, engaging in the conversation. And if you are new here, I am Coach Robin Renee, your hostess in the Self Care Suite, and this is where we come Sundays, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. We kick off our shoes, relax our feet, and discuss the many ways to wellness. We also exchange useful, sustainable, low cost or no cost self care strategies because financial challenges should not be the reason why we don't invest in our wellness account every day. Every day we should be doing something for ourselves. And so we want to come here to either share ideas that we have about self care or to get some ideas that we have, that we don't have about self care and things that we can do. Y'all hear them roosters? It's a lot going on out here. But it's like, so I don't know what time the sun is gonna rise, but if it rises, while we're on here, and I'll be able to show you the backside of where I am. So this is where we have the most light. So I will keep it on this part. But yeah, so this is where we come. I made this commitment at the beginning of the year that I would share my. I'm way on the other side of the world. I'm on the continent of Asia. I'm way on the other side of the world. So, but I'm sticking to my commitment. So I made the commitment at the beginning of the year that I would come on Sundays at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sundays are my downtime, those are my down days. So Sundays is where I'm chilling. So this is, it's not a huge challenge. Just came back from Vietnam. Ooh, cool, cool, cool. So it's a challenge only in the sense of like now I'm in a unique space where I'm still sticking to my commitment at the time that I'm coming on. But as far as Sundays being my chill day, yeah, I like to relax on Sunday. So, I wanted to bring people into a different space on Sunday afternoons. I just think Sunday afternoons are, this is just me, my personal opinion, are, the time where you can explore different things when it comes to just not being in a rush to get up, to get dressed, to get ready. Yes, this is a very nice view. Hello, hello, hello. Is it Marsha or Marcia? Let me know. Raffin, let me know. Let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. My tubers are coming in. You are welcome, welcome, welcome. Again, we're here every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time to discuss our self-care. And so today what I was thinking about, I've been thinking about a lot of stuff, but I'm thinking one of the things is like, how do you can hear me good. Thank you so much. How do you honor your temple? Like, how do you honor your temple in terms of your self-care? Because I know a lot of times we get so caught up in our everyday, like routine care. Do we step back and just identify, like, no, this is specifically for my self-care. I'm going to slow down or I'm going to speed up. Because, sometimes we take a lot, some people take a whole lot of time to chill and need to, rev up some things. So, thank you so much. I'm trying to whisper. I'm trying to whisper. Is it Raffin? Sakar, thank you so much. I'm trying to whisper because I do have people that are still asleep around me, but I wanted to honor my commitment and come on. So if you guys turn on your notifications, you'll be able to see I got some more people that I'm expecting to come in today and tomorrow. So I'll be just doing like random lives. We're just gonna pop on randomly. So turn on your notifications and we'll pop on. Sometimes we'll be able to pop on the talk and the tube at the same time, but sometimes it'll just be just one or the other. So just turn on your notifications so that you'll be able to hear. But yeah, so with our self-care, so sometimes we're thinking that what we're doing is it is self-care, but I want to say intentional self-care. Intentional self-care where we're taking time to take care of ourselves. So what I mean by that, so your self-care, yeah, you're getting up, you're grooming yourself. So, whether it's from, doing your hair, if you wear makeup, your clothes, just getting dressed, brushing your teeth, those kind of things. That is self-care. But the self-care I'm talking about is that intentional time you take out and say, I'm doing nothing but focusing on me. And sometimes that self-care looks like I'm not gonna comb my hair. I'm not gonna brush my teeth. I'm just gonna lay here, in this bed or on this couch or in this chair. It's a wonderful place. Yes, thank you. Yep, it is. It is. But like I said, I'm expecting some more people. I did not get a lot of sleep. So on the self-care tip, because I got people coming in. So I, have to check on folks and make sure the things, the people are okay. But we're going to have a good time. We are going to have a good time. And we're just excited to show you all what we got going on, on the other side of the globe, or some people are on this side, of the globe. But it's just, it feels a little funny, knowing that in my time zone, in Central Standard Time Zone, it is my regular time. But apparently, you can see now that that's not the time zone that I'm in. So again, we will check in. So this is an intentional step away for self-care, but I'm sticking to my commitment to come here to discuss the self-care. So when I'm talking about honoring your temple, honoring your temple, I mean, do you say at this time, at this place, I'm going to take this amount of time to do something for me? That's what I mean. Like, how are you honoring your temple? Or have you not? Have you not been able to honor your temple? Have you not been able to step away and pull, that time together, or that space together, or that energy together, so that you can say, this is for an investment in my wellness account? So remember, we're building here. I don't want to come into the space, as a teacher saying, well, this is what you should do. This is what, because it might not work right. It just pure and simple may not work for you. I can share some things that I do, and if you want to try them, you're more than welcome to try them. I mean, I'll share them. There's some things that I've tried, and yeah, it sounded like a good idea at the time, but didn't work out so well. It didn't work out so well, and so that's something that I'm just not, willing to do. I wouldn't just willingly just pick it and say, oh, this is going to be so much fun for me to do. Yeah, there's some things that I'm just like, yeah, no, I did that. I'm good. And yeah, and I have some people. In fact, I'm gonna give y'all an example, but let me say this first. I do know some people who one of the things that I can think of right now at the top of my head that I stepped away from, that some people really enjoy, like they enjoy to this day, to this moment, they can do it right now. I was like, yeah, no, I did it. I got the experience and I'm good. I don't have to go back there. But I did learn from it. So I'm always going to seek a lesson in whatever it is I'm doing. I want to seek a lesson. Thank you so much, Talkers, for tapping on the screen. I want to seek the lesson in like, what is it for me? Like, what's in it for me? Not that I'm coming into each experience being selfish, but I do want to come into each experience open enough to learn, and willing to learn about what the experience can do. So you say, yes, I've learned to dedicate Sundays off the rest, unless, yep, it's a holiday or weekend like Mother's Day. Yep. Yep. Yeah, my Sundays, but my Sundays has been like that. And that was okay. That's what sounded like a good idea at the time, House of Flow Wellness. So at the beginning of the year, it sounded like a good idea at the time. Like, Sunday is a chill day. And, let me invite people in, because especially during the warmer weather, on Sundays, I'm in my hammock. So I've done a couple of the lives from my hammock. So I'm usually in my hammock on Sunday afternoons. And so I just thought that would be good. Let me, welcome people in. So I'm not going to say that it's not a good idea, but was it the wisest choice for me to make in terms of me being able to stick to my commitment to me? Because I do have to step out and away from Sunday being my chill day, in order for me to come on, to talk to people and all that. So, I mean, I can do it. It's once a week. It's for the year. Again, I only told y'all 1 year. So I'm gonna stick to my word. But yeah, I think that this time is going to turn into something else, so I can regain my Sundays back, because I don't want to get too far away from the commitment I made to myself, which is what I come on here to encourage y'all to do. Keep the commitment that you make to yourself. Once you make that commitment, especially with your self-care, you stick to it. And so I'm working on my chill day. Oh, but let me tell y'all something. So the thing that I said, it sounded like a good idea at the time, and I'm like, yeah, no, get somebody else to do it, is backcountry backpacking. And if you don't know what that is, y'all hurry up and throw it in somebody's search engine so you'll know what it is. Backcountry backpacking sounded like a good idea at the time. Now, I will preface this by saying, I was doing it to get an advanced certification in outdoor leadership, but that was the modality I chose to learn the advanced outdoor leadership because I could have did something else. And as much as I love horses, I'm glad I ain't picked that one because I would have been out there in the wilderness with them horses. It would have been a whole nother story. But anyway, so it was backpacking. So look up backcountry backpacking, not just backpacking, backcountry backpacking. And I'll share my experience with you with that. So I was at the time, I think I was 49. Wow, yeah. Next year will be 10 years. Wow. Okay, yeah. So I was 49. So first of all, I was the oldest one in the group. That was first. Which was a red flag. Like, I don't know, should you be doing this? But hey, like I said, I did it. I did it for a certification, but that was the method that I chose to get my advanced outdoor leadership. Who's that? Hey, Angie, how are you? I'm trying not to be too loud, but I'm glad you all can hear me. So anyway, so again, look it up if you don't know what it is. Backcountry backpacking. So what I'm about to share with you is going to make much more sense. So backcountry backpacking. I'm from the U.S. Niraj, I hope that I'm saying your name correct. I'm from the U.S. And so, first of all, I was the oldest one there, so I was 49. So the ages, and there were a couple of other 40-year-olds. I think there was a 40. Okay, I think Donna was like 47, 47, because she was like a couple years younger than me, and then we had like a 45-year-old. You said you just looked it up. Yes. So if you all haven't looked it up, look it up. Backcountry backpacking. So this story is gonna make a whole lot more sense as I get into it. Backcountry backpacking. So first of all, okay, that's what I said. So that was one area where I'm like, okay, I'm the oldest one there. So that was the first thing. It was my first time backpacking, and if you looked it up, backcountry backpacking as a first timer is no easy feat. Yeah. So again, it sounded like a good idea at the time. From the choices that I had to choose from, I chose backcountry backpacking. Yep. Thank you so much, House of Flow. Let me see if I can pin that so other people can see what I'm talking about. So I want you all to look. Is it gonna let me pin you? Nope, it's not even let me pin you. Okay. But yeah, backcountry backpacking. So I selected that. We're in Asia. Niraj, we're in Asia. But I can't turn the camera around because it's like black behind me. It's like jungle stuff behind me. But I think it's gonna be pretty cool. If the sun comes up before we're done, and then y'all be able to see a part of it, just like the front part. You'll be able to see the front part, some jungle front part. But if you turn your notifications on, you're going to be able to see more as the days go on. So this is a work assignment that I'm on. So anyway, so I was the oldest one there, backcountry backpacking. It was my first time. I was the only one that it was my first time doing it. Um, the I don't know. It would be beautiful to come. Okay, I got some people who just got in. They got in the country. Yeah, I don't know. India would be a good one. It would be a good one to do. But I'm worldwide. I don't know. Let me know, Niraj. Let me know what the hookup is. Let me know what the hookup is. I'm worldwide. I'm willing to travel. I'm willing to travel. Have passport, will travel. But yeah, we got some global things that we're doing. So the oldest one there, first timer, the only black there. But there was a brown brother that was there. We had a Latino brother that was there, but we were the only two people of color that were there. And let me see what else. That's enough. I'm from the city. That's the other part you need to know. Well, that's why I keep saying back country, backpacking, because I'm from the city. The city, from the hood in the city. Urban. So we had to wear these big backpacks. Again, if you haven't looked it up, look it up so you'll see what it looks like. So House of Flow Wellness, thank you so much for looking it up. So we had to wear these backpacks. No, we wasn't even in the boonies, baby. The boonies got siblings. Like, we were in the series. Okay, where we went, if you're still looking up, we went into the Pasayten Wilderness in Upper Washington State. Pasayten Wilderness is where we were. We were in the wilderness. And so we had these backpacks that we had to carry. We had to, hey, the Netherlands, Neri, hey, the Netherlands. So in our backpacks was our lives, basically. And so for 10 days, we were responsible for not only taking care of ourselves. So that's what I was asking about, like when you're taking care of yourself and taking care of others. But we also had, we were living in these little communal tents. So there were 4 people to a tent. So not only did you have your stuff in your backpack, but you had to carry the food and the fuel. So we had to separate that between the 4 people in the tent. So we had to carry the food for the tent and the fuel for the tent, along with your other stuff. And every night we slept at a different location. So wherever we camped out, wherever we found a place to camp out, we had to set up and, eat and do all those things, sleep and then get up and break all that down and get up and go again. So we first get out on the trail. Well, no, let me back up so I can tell you about the backpack. So we had essentials. So we had a list of things that we had to get. And I had my list of things, and this was before the internet was as popular as it is now, or as easy to navigate it is now. So we had to take pictures. I had to take pictures. I had to send it in, to our advisors, the things that we had. So she told me, because I thought I had everything. I'm looking up. I got my, my little camp supplies, and I got travel size this and travel size that. And so she says, she see my pictures. She said we were doing emails and voice messages. So she told me to put the tissue back. I was like, why am I putting my tissue back? Because I had some tissue. Hello, Uncle. Anku. I hope I pronounced that right. So she says, put the tissue back. So I'm like, okay. So I go to, and there's a big brand, a big wilderness brand. They're not sponsoring me. They're not sponsoring this, so I can't say their name. But the first letter is R. But anyway, so I went into the store, to return the stuff because I'm like, they telling me to take it back. So I got an advisor there at the store, and so he was like, why did they tell you to put the tissue back? He said, oh, I already know. He said, sometimes they take these things too far. It was an older gentleman. Oh my God. I went back and thanked him so much. Yeah, this is a work assignment for me. So he said that they want you to, no, he said they're going to teach you how to use pine cones. I'm like, a pine cone? What am I using the pine cone for? And he said they're going to teach you how to use the pine cone. So the person that told me to put my tissue back, because they're going to show me how to use the pine cone and some leaves. That's what he told me. And so I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. And he was like, no. He said, there are things that you can do and there are things that you can take. He said, you just have to be wise about it. So he was giving me some pointers on things that I can do to make sure that I continue to take care of myself. Again, we're talking about that self-care, despite the fact that you're also taking care of others. So he showed me the wipes, and he was like, you're going to want to take some wipes with you. And I'm like, well, they said that I couldn't. He was like, listen, no, they were going to check us. That's the other part. Right. A pine cone. Listen, pine cone and leaves. It gets better. So I'm like, but she told me to put my stuff. He said, look, even if they check your things, because they inspect your things to make sure that you have, because you're going to live in the wilderness. You're doing backcountry backpacking. So they want to teach you how to live off the land, like literally how to live off the land. And he said, I'm pretty sure there's some spaces that, use Hindi language talk. Yeah, I speak English, so I don't speak Hindi. He said, I'm pretty sure there's some places on you that they're not going to check. Right. So he didn't give me nothing else after that. I was like, okay. He said, but trust me, you're going to come back and you're going to thank me for taking these wipes. Because, oh no, let me back up. This is important. He said, do you plan on living in the backcountry? I was like, no, I'm just doing it. He said, okay, then get your wipes. That's how I ended up getting my wipes back. He was like, okay, get your wipes. He said, if you're not planning on making this a lifestyle and you're just going to get your certification. Thank you, Melanie. Yeah, it's a beautiful view. This is the best place where I have light. So that's why I'm here, because it's dark everywhere else. So that's why he said, keep those wipes. He said, you're not planning on this as a lifestyle and you're just going to get your certification, go and get your certification. And that's when he said, I'm pretty sure there's some places on you that they're not going to check. Okay, so cool. So then, I have my wipes, so I got my backpack. And so the backpack, if you haven't seen a backcountry backpack, it's really long. And you may have even seen some people travel like this. Some people travel the world backpacking. It's the one where the backpack like sits above, because you're not using no pine cone. Girl, the pine cones. It was crazy. It was crazy. And so the backpack, the backcountry backpacking backpack is it sits above the person's head. So if you've ever seen those backpacks, they're real huge, and then they hug like kind of tightly around the waist because it's big. Like so. But anyway, so we were responsible for all of our belongings as well as the food and the fuel for our tent. And so there were four of us in our tent. And so, but he also fitted me four of my boots. Somebody was like, somebody told me, the people be talking, they said, and somebody said. So, he fitted me for my boots, and he told me to get whatever size I normally wear. So I'm like, yeah, well, I was told that I should get a half a size larger. And he was like, no, get your size, because if you get anything larger and friction starts, then you're going to have blisters, and that's going to be really bad for the entire trip. So that's important too, for you all to know that. So remember that. Just bookmark that in your mind, the boots. So he fitted me for my boots. I got my supplies. So I, take my flight, get on out there. So we were in Upper Washington State. Again, we were in the Pasayten Wilderness. Look that up because ain't nothing there. It's the wilderness. It's the wilderness. So we get there, we're excited. We're packing up, and one of the pictures, if I can find it, maybe I'll post it. But one of the pictures I took, I'm ready. I got all my stuff on because it was my first time, right? So it was my first time going, and I had all my supplies. I checked my list and checked it twice, so I was excited about going. And the picture needs to have the caption. Little does she know, in 10 days she's going to be a whole different person from the experience she's about to have. Like, that's really what that picture should say, because I had no clue what I was about to go into. So anyway, I did get my wipes in. I got my wipes in because the man told me there's a place that hey, good morning, I'm cool. He did tell me that there's a place that they're not going to check, and yeah, I was able to bring my wipes in. So we get started, and if I apologize if I come back because something may pop in my head that I'm remembering now as I'm telling the story. So on the first day, well, as we were packing up, they weigh all of our food. So how you carry your stuff. If you're on a group backpacking, there's a certain weight of a backpack. So like everybody doesn't carry the same weight. It's in proportion to your weight, if that's making sense. So like say for instance, a 200-pound person, they wouldn't have the same amount of shared property, the communal property, meaning the food and the fuel, as a person who weighs 100 pounds. So it has to be in proportion to your weight is how you're going to carry the food. So, they weigh all our food out and put it in these bags, and then we have to separate them. And, according to your weight is what you're going to carry. And, the fuel and like the kitchen fence and all sorts of things. So anyway, so we get all our backpacks on, and we're starting off, so for our first we were driven to the basically to the edge of the wilderness. We were driven to the edge of the wilderness. And so our first day, that hike was on average, we did anywhere between 20 and 30 miles in a day hiking. And so we, made it to our first, to the trail head. So we weren't on the trail, just yet. So we had to walk on the trailhead. So I had, if you know anything about, so there's a big outdoor brand, starts with a C, and they have something called Omni Heat. And Omni Heat is that it looks like foil underneath your clothing. If you've ever seen it, it'll be in your boots, it'll be in your coats and your I got so much Omni Heat stuff, the gloves. Oh, in fact, you know what? I can say their name. So you said that's smart, because imagine people carrying all that heavy stuff. Yeah. You can't have no small person carrying all that heavy stuff. Yeah, I can say the name because they actually sponsor an organization I belong to, Columbia. So Columbia Sportswear. So Columbia has a technology called Omni Heat. So you want to pack light, like Erykah Badu say, pack light. Yeah. So you want to pack light. So I had Omni Heat. I had thinner, items, but they had the Omni Heat. Baby, let me tell you something. We get started on that trail. Okay, so, oh, you know what? I got a new feature here. You know what? I forgot all about this. Yeah, tubers, y'all come on here clowning today. Come on in here. Oh no, I want more than 30 minutes. Man, it should have been 24 hours. So anyway, so I had all my Omni Heat stuff on because it was chilly. So in the mornings, it was between 40 and 50 degrees. So it was chilly in the mornings. And then in the afternoons, and it went anywhere between 60 and 80. They cutting up. Yeah, I know I got time out. So at House of Flow, if you want to stay on the talk, you can. I figured out the timeout feature, so you don't have to go to the tube. But thank you if you do. So we started off on the trail, y'all. When I tell y'all, we didn't even get a half a mile in. I know Omni Heat works. It works. It works. Cause baby, the heat that rushed over my body, we weren't even a half a mile in. It was so bad because I got this big pack. My pack was, I want to say my pack was about 50 pounds. Yeah, my pack may have been about 50 pounds. And there's another story to that too, because I actually had the wrong weight. But anyway, I think my pack was about 50 pounds. So the heat that rushed over my body on that trail, we had to stop. The group had to go ahead because I literally had to start taking stuff off on that trail. Because I had on an Omni Heat tank top, an Omni Heat t-shirt, an Omni Heat like overshirt. Then I had on a jacket. I had on so much stuff. And the reason why I had to stop on the trail to do it was because they didn't want my stuff to get wet. So that is very important. Very, very important to know. They didn't want my stuff to get wet, but I didn't know the importance of it until I got into it. Again, just one of them things that sound like a good idea at the time, but I learned as I went. And the reason why you don't want your things to get wet, because when you're in an environment like that, and especially we're out in the wilderness, so there was a lot of guarantee. Of course, on the weather, we're going further and further up in the mountains, and it's colder up there. It's colder up there, and it's wetter up there. So the reason why they didn't want my clothes to be wet was because I would have had to keep wet clothes with me. One, that would have been heavier, on me, and another, I was risking, getting sick, and being uncomfortable wearing wet clothes. So I had to take stuff off on the trail. Now, mind you, these are people who I just met. I did not know them. I ain't know them people, so I didn't know those people. So I had to take my stuff off. But our leader. Oh my gosh, shout out to Mike. I mean, he was both of them were good. I had Mike. One was named Mike. Another one name was Aaron, female. Erin, and so he was there, because Aaron was on the lead, and so Mike, fell back and made sure that I was okay. I had to go in the bushes and all this whole thing, take my pack off, sit it down and take some of them clothes off, because I'm telling you, when that heat rushed on me, that Omni Heat like just immediately turned on. So anyway, that was starting out. So I'm like, okay, I'm still being very optimistic because I'm going to make it. Once I start something, I made a commitment, like I was sharing with me coming, on doing these lives, on Sundays. Once I make a commitment, I'm going to see it through. I mean, I'm going to be challenged, but I'm going to see it through. It's not like I'm going to quit. I'm no quitter. So then we get back on the trail. So we're going, and maybe about, now remember, we were doing anywhere from 20 to 25. I don't know if we did a 30-mile day, it was only one, but we kind of broke it up, between 20 and 25 miles a day, because we were out there for 10 days. So as we walked a little bit more, I don't know if we made it another mile or not, but it wasn't a long time. It was enough time, but it wasn't a long time. Then we get to a river. So looking at TV, TV sends you off just like social media. Yeah, 20 miles. Yeah, with all that stuff. Looking at social media, it was TV at the time. They glamorized this stuff, baby. We got to the bridge. I'm like, this is so pretty, because you're looking at the mountains. So you see the mountains and you see the water coming down. Hey, John. Hey, how are you? You see the water coming down the mountains, and it looks beautiful because you see the waterfall. Like TLC say, don't go chasing waterfall. I learned my lesson about chasing waterfalls. So as the waterfall is coming down, I'm not really paying attention. I can see it. I can see the bridge. I can see the water. But the water is coming off of the mountain. So y'all work with me here. So I need you to use your imagination here. So as we know how beautiful water looks coming down the side of a mountain, it looks beautiful. It's not dawning on me. Okay, I can look up, I can see, the mountain is, kind of slick, and, the water is coming down. The water is coming into the river that we were about to cross. It's still not, it's early morning. It's ROTG, man. It's early morning. It is 4:49. So it's right before sunrise. It's early morning, but it's still dark out here. So the sun hasn't come up. So I'm looking, and this is so funny. I'm telling you all this story, but because I'm recounting it in my mind. So again, so y'all with me. I did time travel. I really did because it's actually Monday morning at 4:49. I did do a little time traveling. So I'm looking at the water coming down the side of the mountain. It's going into the river that we're looking at, and this is a river that we have to cross. It's still not clicking. We got to walk across this river. So I'm thinking, okay. So then they're like, okay, well, because we got our boots, we got, a shout out to Loa, baby, because my Renegades, they were lifesavers. Again, remember I told you, I remember what I said about the boots. You got to have the right boots when you go do stuff like that, because my boots were the champs. So they were like, okay, we have to cross this river. So I'm like, okay, you see the river. Again, looking at TV or now, like I say, looking at social media, don't let it throw you off. Don't let it throw you off. Because we had to go across this river. Child, I'm thinking we just about to walk. You know how you see a little river. You going to walk. You just going to walk across, get a little bit wet. We start walking. Okay, is at my feet, then come up by my toes. I'm like, okay, I'm good because I got on these waterproof boots. I didn't got fitted for them, over at the other store. Oh, you know what? I can say their name, the outfitters, because they do sponsor us in another group. REI was my outfitter, so REI outfitted me for my boots, and I got everything. So yeah, oh, we got more than that, John. So stay with me. So as we were walking, then to get to my ankles, I'm like, cool, because I had my boots were a little bit higher, and I'm like, okay, I was still fine. My feet were not wet at all. We walking. Honey, we get to the point, so you got to keep walking to get across the river. The water starts rising. So I'm like, okay, all right. So we still walking. So we're, at least me, again, this was my first time backpacking. So I'm just concentrating on getting across the river. And, it's looking like, okay, this is, not bad. I can go across the river. I'll be a little bit wet. Somewhere in that crossing of that river, child, the prayers had to go up. All of a sudden, it felt like barbed wire had gripped my ankles up to my shins. It felt like barbed wire was closing in around, like, imagine that it's wrapped around your ankles and for whatever reason, it did not feel like this on my feet. It was I just remember my ankles. Maybe it did on my feet, but I know it was my ankles and up to like mid shin. It felt like, and the wire kept getting tight. That's what it felt like. Well, what that was one, of course, my body was trying to adjust. Now, remember, the water that's coming down the mountain, if you look at the top of the mountain still had snow on it. And this was in June. Who's thinking about snow in June? I'm just saying. But people who are in the mountains know it's still snowing in June. So, but the water was melting from the ice at the top of the mountain. And ouch is an understatement, honey. It's an understatement. And so that's the water that was coming down the mountain that I hadn't calculated that this is snow water that's in this river that we now have to cross. And by the time it kicked in, I'm in the middle. So either way it goes, I have the same distance to turn around to go back as I do to get over to continue going. And wasn't nobody turning around. Wasn't nobody turning around with me. And even if I turned around, they just dropped us off at the edge of the wilderness. So I got to keep going. But I had the muscle through. I mean, it was like crazy. It hit all of a sudden. It felt like the barbed wire was like a thick barbed wire bracelet. Like it gripped I just remember my ankles. It just felt like something was holding my ankles, and then I could feel the itching and the burning, coming up, my leg. But then we go a little bit further, so we still, walking across. So I felt this. I'm like, okay, just, and like I said, my teacher, our trainer, Mike, he was wonderful. He was like, just breathe, He was like, you don't want to go into shock, just breathe and just keep on walking. Well, there was ice in the water. So some of that was actually pieces of ice that was coming. Yeah. So we had to make it, across the river. Okay, so now we ain't even 5 miles into this into this hike, y'all. We wasn't even 5 miles into this hike. First I had to take my clothes off, because I got too hot and pack up my stuff so it wouldn't get wet. And then there's ice that's coming down. So we made it on across. You can't take anything off. You can't wring anything out. You just have to keep walking. So imagine, your feet cold, your legs cold, your feet, you're squishing and all this kind of stuff. And, you just have to keep walking. And you still got this big old pack on. You just can't sit your pack down. So we're, walking and walking and walking and walking. So we get a little bit further down the trail. And then one of the people, you're right, John. So one of the people, now guys, I'm used to this, just because the dynamics between the way men and women operate. So, if a guy steps off on the side and he gonna run over in the bushes, he has to relieve himself. All right, okay, that's the guy thing. But it was one of the girls that was like, what was her word? I can't remember what her word was. Okay, let me, Okay, I got a new feature over here that I done figured out. So y'all can come over here getting as crazy as you want. Because I'm talking to my people here. So you going to the timeout, child. We ain't even about to entertain that. Okay. So it was one of the girls that said, I can't even think of the word now. But anyway, she had to go, and relieve herself in the bushes. Remember, we are in the wilderness. We're in the wilderness. Still ain't really dawning on me. I mean, because I can hike and, because I'm still thinking, again, this is my first time. And yes, I read the instructions and yes, I went through the orientation, but still, it's a little different when you really get deep into some, you get deep into some stuff and you realize, what? This is what we out here doing. So she went to go and relieve herself. And so she came, back out. And this is we were talking with the female counselor, right? And so House of Flow Wellness, this where them leaves would have came in. The leaves would have came in here, if I did not have my wipes and stuff with me. So we also had these bandanas. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if I gotta go, I mean, you gotta go, you gotta go. I got, my wipes with me. So I'm thinking the bandanas was, to wave for a signal or whatever, because it's one of those. It was one of those things where it was experiential learning. So some things, you get the basics, you get enough to learn, for you to be able to survive, and then there's some things it's like the on-the-job training. So so if you think military, basically, some of the stuff you're learning on the job, and it's those things that won't necessarily put your life in danger. So anyway, so the female teacher, is letting us know, our trainer. So again, we got we needed two bandanas. So I'm thinking, one gonna be, I'm gonna do my little Tupac tie, we're gonna be cool, we gonna put the bandana on or put it on my side so in case I have to wave, signal somebody if we get into some trouble, right? No. So the bandana, and it didn't dawn on me, but when it did, once I see something, I can't unsee it. You said the west side. What's up, west side? Yeah. Oh, for park. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And west side. Yeah. So the bandana is. Oh, hey, Auntie Chelsea. So the bandana is tied on the top of the backpack. Again, I'm thinking, I was gonna do my park thing. I was gonna tie my tie, and I think the other one's gonna be for some signals in case we needed some help, right? So when she, comes back, so I got my wipes with me because the man at REI had already told me to bring my wipes. So the female teacher is just letting us know, the multi-uses of the bandana. So that's what she used, not the teacher. I mean, eventually she had to use hers, but the girl who went, in the bushes, she didn't use this bandana to wipe herself. Maybe she used some leaves or whatever. I don't know. I didn't go back there with her. We just, paused to make sure she was safe. So I'm looking like, okay, so we out here walking. You got these bandanas tied on this backpack. So you mean to tell me you done sat this backpack down on the ground, you done picked it up, you done walked, you done ate, and this is what you wiping yourself with? You got, and you in front of me? So this is what the people say. I'm not saying I doubt it, but that just wasn't my ministry right there. The sun is gonna kill whatever's on there, so it'll be fresh again. We got to use it again. So you want me to wipe myself with this bandana that's been on it? Yes. Listen, House of Flow Wellness. They say the sun gonna sanitize it. I love me some sun and I love me the Lord. But I'm so glad that man at REI said, take these wipes with you. Because it would have been a hot mess out there. Yes, but we're walking on a trail and you got these bandanas tied on the top of this backpack and you mean to tell me you out there wiping yourself? Oh yeah, no, I'm going to pass, I'm going to pass, I'm going to pass. And I did bring me some snacks too because the guy at REI told me bring some snacks too. That's a part of the story too. So they're using the bandana to wipe themselves. I was like, yeah, I'm going to pass on that, but I'm watching you. Once I see something, I can't unsee it. Now, I done seen this already. And you done sat down on the ground. You done sat your bag on the ground. That scarf done touched, that bandana done touched down. It's a very nice spot. I'm waiting on the sun to rise, and then maybe you can see it. You all can see it a little better. So hopefully we're still on. So anyway, so they done went off. So now I'm thinking like, oh God. So first of all, I do not want to go out here in these bushes, and I'm praying like, Lord Jesus, don't let me have to use it. But I know eventually we're gonna have to because we're backpacking, and they did talk to us about that. Like what will happen. If you had, whether there was an emergency or if it's just a regular function, and you need to, relieve yourself, and how will you clean yourself? And they talk about digging cat holes and all this stuff. In my head, I'm like, hopefully I ain't got to dig nothing because I'm not trying to do all that out here. So anyway, so we continued on our trail. And so this was day one. I think those were the eventful things from day one. If I think of something, I'll pop back, to it. So by the time we get to where we're going to stop, everybody has to, so it's tents of 4. And so everybody has to go and basically find a spot, that looks safe, that looks stable, that's level, that doesn't have, like any rocks or glass or anything there, so that it can be safe for you to pop up your tent. So that's what we did. So every day, so this was night one. And so we had to find a spot to pop up our tent. So we did. We found a spot, and then you go set up your kitchen, and then you cook your food, for the evening. So you have your camp stoves, and you got all the food, the supplies, the communal tent for us to sleep in for the night. That's what we had to do. We had to look on the ground and make sure everything was safe, and it was some place where we can stake our tents in, and, so many feet away from this source, and so, from a water source, and, food source, like those kind of things. So, and then we, survived. So you just wanted, so Chris Martin, I don't know what that is. So that was night one. So it was eventful, but not super, super eventful. So we get up in the morning. Now, mind you, we did already walked all these miles. So we have walked all these miles. And so the next day, sometimes, you can experience something like immediately, or it's that residual. My back was locking up on me because of the weight from that backpack. Remember I told y'all they found out that I basically was carrying the wrong weight all this time. It was like midway into the trip when we realized that, and I'll tell you what I did about that. So my back started locking up, from the pain, from being strained with carrying that backpack, all the miles that we were walking. So, I had to do the, massage my back, and I, carry my lavender oil, and, had to create like a pseudo heat pack and all those sorts of things so I can make it, through the second day. So the second day, I don't remember. So, my days may get blurred. So I'm going to speed this story up. So it may get blurred, but just imagine. So each day we get up, hey, Thai Fit, Pilates, how are you? So each day we get up, we get dressed, and then we're sleeping like side by side by side. So if you were, a side sleeper where you sleeping like in a fetal position, yeah, you might be kicking somebody and all those sorts of things. So you kind of have to be just like kind of straight, but on your side. But anyway, so just think each day you get up, you pack up camp, you eat, you eat, and then you pack up camp, and then you get ready to go to do. How much was the weight? I think my pack should have been somewhere between, I don't remember the exact number, but I think my pack should have been somewhere between 40 and 50, and my pack was between 50 and 60. So I had like at least 5 to 10 pounds over what I should have been carrying. And we discovered it in the middle of the trip. So then, the next day, so just think that. So we're doing this. So each day we get up, and then we're ascending. So we're going up, up, up and up, in the mountains, and it's further into the wilderness. Each time, we go up. Each time we pick a new campsite. So again, in the midst of this, you still got to think about your own self-care. I'm sharing about an experience that I had regarding my self-care. Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, but we're talking about our self-care, despite you having to care for others. And I'm just sharing this experience that sounded like a good idea at the time. But then I learned from it. I learned valuable lessons from it that is just not for me. So, it's kind of like taking a long route, but I hope you guys stay with me so you can see, where I came to the conclusion of that was no longer for me. And we're talking about backcountry backpacking, and that's what this was about. So, just each day you get up, you have to take everything with you. You cook. Oh, your trash, like everything. Your trash you take with you. So those wipes, you got to tie them up. You got to put them, I put them in the bottom of the bag because there was really no communal trash can. So I had like a separate liner, and that was also shout out to the REI dude. Told me always bring extra bags. And if anybody's ever traveled with me, I have bags on top of bags. I do Ziplocs. I do regular tie up plastic bags. So with the food. So the first morning, it wasn't my turn to cook, because you have different assignments. Different people are assigned to different things. So it wasn't my time to cook. And so one of the other girls was cooking, and they did, the pancakes, it was good, made some pancakes or whatever. And so I only had one, at that particular time because I was packing up. I didn't want to leave. So after you just wipe, listen, let me get to it. Angie. You know where I'm going. So I tasted the pancake, it was good. But I went back and started packing. Now I had, so shout out to plantain chips. I had some plantain chips and I had some trail mix. They kept me alive a lot of them days up there because some days that's all I was eating. So I done packed up, I packed up my stuff because I wash. When I go places, I wash my clothes. So anybody has ever, hey, India, hey, AJ, welcome. So I'm packing up. When I came back from around the corner from packing up, child, I see the girl sticking her hand in the bag because we had mostly bags. We didn't have a lot of dishes, but we had mostly bags. Sticking her hand in the bag, where the pancakes were, the dough was, and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, it was like things kind of get a little jumbled, when you're doing the backpacking. So just work with me, use your imagination here, and lick her fingers. My stomach, I got instantly sick. I was like, no, no, no. And then came back and said, dude, I want my other pancake. No, I'm good. I'm trying not to laugh loud, y'all. I'm good. No, I do not want another pancake. I don't want another nothing, not another thing from you, ma'am. Nothing, nothing, nothing. I mean, it was like I could, once I see something, I cannot unsee it. So no, I don't want anything else. So I'm stuck with eating plantain chips and trail mix. I mean, it was, oh my God, my stomach just, anyway. So imagine I got to get up and I got to put this pack back on my back and we got to hike some more miles. This is in the morning. This is early in the morning. So, and it's heavy on the carbs, heavy on the carbs, heavy on the carbs. So you want to get those things, that's going to be slow burning so you can have that energy. So, I mean, I started off the day, just not in the greatest, physical space for me to go and exert that kind of energy. So, we getting further. Yeah, hiking is very difficult. Now, we were doing backpacking. So look that up, John. We were doing backcountry backpacking, and this is going to make so much more sense. It's going to make so much more sense. Okay, so my food was already, what I had in me was not the best supply. It was not the best supply. So we get, started, out on our day. By that evening, the same one that did the cooking had to keep running in the bushes, had to keep running in the bushes, keep running in the bushes. So y'all work with me. So Angie, I hope you're still with me. Well, it was discovered by the end of the day, homegirl got the diarrhea. But she didn't just cook. So I'm like, Jesus, please, please. And this is also my tent mate. So I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So yeah, we gonna keep on going, keep on going. We got our snacks or whatever we had. She was, yes. Yes, it was just her turn that day because we took turns cooking the food. So we continued on, with the, yeah, 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 yeah. So she just wasn't feeling too well. So we discovered that, right? So we don't gonna make it on through. So then it was my turn, and so my other tent mate. So me and her were the closest in age. She was like 2 years younger than me, and so when it was our turn to cook, and she was also an EMT. So she's an EMT, so she had different, like a different perspective when it came to sorts of things and taking care of herself and all that. And so it's a significant story about her as well too, in there. So anyway, so when she and I, we got to know each other a little bit better, so we were made it up in terms of the cooking. So as it goes on and goes on, so I'm going to speed the story up. So just imagine every day you get up, there's always a new adventure, and then we talking about digging these cat holes, and then we had some young guys with us too. That thank God they were with us when we had to go do these different adventures. They had a lot of strength, and they would bushwhack the brush and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so as the trip is going on, we're going higher and higher, up into the mountain, and so it's getting more and more difficult. It's getting more and more difficult to breathe, and we got these packs on. So midway in between the trip, and I may be skipping around, I just want to give you all like the gist of what happened, and we're talking about what sounded like a good idea at the time and how you continue to take care of yourself. And so each day, oh, wait a minute, I got to tell you this. What kept me going was my excitement about going back reading this book. I got to go back to the home base. Before we left, there was a guy that was there and asked me, had I ever heard of the book called The Adventure Gap? The Adventure Gap. And it was about Expedition Denali. It was an all-black expedition team that went to summit the highest peak in Alaska. So look it up. I don't want to tell you exactly what happened with them, but it was so good. It was an all-black expedition team, and a lot of them, had never, hiked before and all those sorts of things. So you have the Adventure Gap. Yep, that's the name of the book. Thank you so much for putting it in there. So go back and read that. So each day I was able to go back and read because remember I was the only one. Again, I was the only one in the group, and so I didn't have that representation there, of anybody that looked like me. Thank you so much. It's not mine. I'm at a property where I'm working, but so I didn't have anybody look like me, but everybody in that adventure gap represented me because they took on this big feat that people didn't think that they were going to be successful at, and they had all these odds against them. So that was my saving grace every day. Every day I wanted to get back to camp so I can read my book before it got too dark because they gave me hope every day. Like, you can do this. Like, they made it out. All of them made it out. All of them made it out alive. So that was my saving grace. So anyway, so let me go fast forward. So midway in between the trip, when the instructors were, we had, lay our food down. It's not mine. Curtis, this is a work site where I'm at. But thank you though. So when they it motivated me. The Adventure Gap is the name of the book. So when they started looking at the food and they realized that our tent, we were all women, our tent had the food of the 19 years. So we had, okay, it was one 19-year-old guy, two 20-year-olds, and a 21-year-old. They were young men. We had their food. That's why we had all kind of stuff, like the little chocolate mothballs and all this flour, and we did chunks of cheese and, all this stuff. We had a lot of heavy stuff. That was discovered midway through the trip. And they were eating. And I was giving them all kind of stuff because I didn't eat that kind of stuff. I didn't eat that kind. And so some of my tent mates were getting upset, like, well, why would you give them that? Because I don't want it. It's my food. How you gonna tell me I can't get somebody my food? I can give anybody anything I want. When I found that out, y'all, listen. I didn't want to see another pancake. I didn't want to see another. Okay, this is what we had. So you talking about a pancake? You talking about a breakfast biscuit? You talking about a cinnamon roll? Bread. I don't want to see another piece. I understood and I knew why we needed it because we needed those slow burning carbs. This is Asia, but the story I'm talking about happened in the U.S. This was a training, an advanced outdoor leadership training that I went on. So I gave it away. I gave it away. I'm like, look, I got these plantain chips and I got this trail mix and I'm going to survive. Me and the Lord, me and Jesus, my whole, and not just my navel, my whole front side was touching my spine in the back. I was hungry. And they were like, are you sure? I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing. So when we discovered this, we had to switch up food and everything. So on one of the days, we had what was called a free day. And this was one of the days, and I don't like cold. I'm not a cold loving person. But I must say, snow school was one of the most, I had the most fun at snow school. So on the free day, it's still an adventure. You're still doing something, that's physically and mentally challenging. I chose snow school. So some of the other people wanted to go up and summit the top of the peak of the mountain. I'm like, we already climbing the mountain. Why would I want to go higher in the mountain? This is bananas. But anyway, that's what they chose. They wanted to do that. And I chose snow school. So some of us stayed back for snow school. So in snow school, you learn how it's called self-arrest. You learn how to self-arrest. That means that if you're slipping and if you're falling, down the mountain, how would you survive? How would you catch yourself? How would you be able to get out of that? And so we learned this one technique. Now, it was fun. It was fun. Did we do videos? Maybe one of the people did video, but I think we did mostly pictures. But one of the positions, so just think, we're at the top of the mountain. One of the positions that you had to practice falling down was going down head first. And it's a real mountain. This ain't for play. It's a real mountain. We're in the Pasayten Wilderness in Upper State, Washington. If you want to look that up, Pasayten, Paysetan. I think that's the way you spell it. Pasayten, Pasayten Wilderness. That's the name of it. So anyway, so one of the ways to go down was head first. Like if you fell on your back and because you can't determine how you're going to fall down the mountain. And they were teaching us different ways of how you would save yourself. And it's called self-arrest. Okay. And I had just read about it in the Adventure Gap in the book. So a lot of the things that were happening, to me was, similar, to what was going on with them. And so the teacher would hold your legs, hold you by your ankles. You position yourself where your head is going down the slope first. You have to slide down, but you also have to turn your body and roll over to your belly. So remember, we're starting off on our back. So y'all work with me. So picture this. You starting off on your back, you're facing up. He's holding your legs. When he lets you go, you're sliding down on your back, so you just see the sky, but you have to turn your body first. So just think it's like a, hey, what's up, Tyler? So you have to turn your body first. So it's sort of like a dial, like a dial on the clock. You turn your body first and then flip over on your belly, grab your axe and dig it into the mountain. And that's your self arrest. And so you will stop. You'll stop yourself with that. So that was the skill that we were practicing. And I got really good at this. So I was like, oh, this is cool. I don't know where I'm going to use it at in Chicago, but just in case I get to sliding down the mountain in Chicago, I know how to self-arrest. So that was a good skill, to have. So we went on and, finished, the hike and all this kind of stuff. So towards the end, it got to the point where, and so this is one of those sound like a good idea at the time type of decisions. And I was training for an organization to become an advanced outdoor leader. And at the time, oh yeah, but it was fun though. And so I was training to be this advanced outdoor leader. And so what kept me going, one was the Adventure Gap, because they made it through. I know it's James Edward Mills is the author of the book, and they had a whole documentary out. I mean, it's a really interesting story, and so I had them motivating me, keeping me going. But then I also had at the time this organization, Girl Trek. It was 60,000 women, and so I just knew I had 60,000 black women waiting on me to come out. Like they would have never selected me, and I had to do all kind of things, psychologically to make sure I made it through. Um, um, to make sure that I was going to come out. So I had 60,000 black women that were waiting on me to come out and to come with these skills and to be able to, to help them to move a little further along their wellness journey. So that, I couldn't let myself down or let them down. And also, one of our other leaders from Girl Trek, she did the kayaking in Alaska, and she told me what helped her through was because you had a regular watch, regular cameras. I mean, it was like a lot of stuff we couldn't take with us. So she would get up each day, so she knew what day it was and what time it was. And she was in Alaska, so she had a lot of daylight. And she would get up and say like, today is Sunday, yesterday was Saturday, tomorrow was Monday. I'm gonna be okay. And she told me that like that was what was gonna help her out. So that's what helped her out. And so I started using that, like, just to recite the days, because you didn't really know what day it was and, what time it was. You can kind of gauge. It was like one of those things where you're going to gauge from the sun and, where the sun is shining this way. And so it was pretty cool. We learned some really good skills. So, we done got rid of the heavy packs. I done gave away all my food. So me and my tent mate, when she and I got assigned, so on the free day, the people who went to further summit the mountain were gone longer, which included our other tent mates. Remember, one of them they caught the Darius, and another girl in another tent, she caught it too. But we was like, okay, so we had to come up with a plan. So this particular tent mate, the EMT, was also diabetic, and she had the patch, right, the pump with the patch. She had turned it off because she wasn't I didn't know, because we weren't really doing a lot of talking. She wasn't eating either because she didn't want to eat behind people either, So I'm like, girl, you laying next to me, you gonna wake up every morning. I don't need no cold body laying next to me, So she had turned her, she wasn't even getting her medicine. So when we finished, we came back to camp and we cooked up everything else we had left. We made like meals. You know how you do a meal? We meal prepping in the mountains. Meal prepping in the mountains. We cooked up everything. I'm from the U.S. We had so much fun. She and I just getting to know one another over cooking. Right. So we were cooking. We cooked up everything. We rationed out everything. It was really smart. Now, it was really smart. But we were trying to figure out how can we eat, because we had been starving. She and I, we had been individually starving together, and we didn't know. We didn't know we weren't eating the stuff, because when they would try to give me food, I would take it and I would tie it up and I would put it under the bottom of my pack, and you had to extra tie it up because you can't sleep where your food is. So your food had to be separate. But this was in my actual bag, and I had to sit my bag in the snow on the outside of the tent so no bear wouldn't get me. Well, get the food, and then come to our tent, because we learned bear protocol too. I'll tell you about that. So anyway, so she and I ended up cooking up all the food, like I said, and we had a wonderful time talking. When they came back, them girls were so angry with us because they wanted to take turns cooking and they wanted to experiment. But one of the girls made some brownies one day. I didn't even tell you, I'm about to tell you this, but she made some brownies one day. She had this little, it was a turquoise bowl and this little purple spoon. I saw you eating that mix on that spoon. I saw that purple. And you making brownies. So one didn't have the diarrhea, the other one over there eating and stuff. Yeah, and then they were like, because we had blocks of cheese and they were using their eating utensils to cut the cheese. It was horrible. So yeah. So anyway, me and this particular girl, the other one, the one that was like 2 years younger than me, we cooked up everything. We cooked up everything we had left. Cooked up everything, and we rationed it out. When they came back, they were so upset. We burned up all of our fuel, so we didn't even have no more fuel. But then again, that took away the weight of what we were carrying. We used all of our fuel. Me and her were out there in the dark, laughing and praying that no bears came and got us because the food smelled so good. When people came back to camp, they were like, "Oh my God, that smells so good." We cooked up everything and we had a meal plan. And we separated it into the fours, and everybody had their own bag of food, because we only had like, I think it was 4 days left or something like that. But they were so hot, they were so angry with us. But me and her were so full. Oh my God, we ate so much and laughed so much. Now that was the fun part. That was a good memory. So anyway, towards the last day that we were ascending, going up the mountain, again, I had to continue to take care of myself while I'm out here. There's no representation, of me. I got this book that's motivating me, and I'm still, I got to rely on these other people to save my life, basically, is what I have to do. I had to trust. I had to have faith, one, that they would, take care of me the way that I'm thinking of taking care of them, because I didn't know these people. And the kind of fun they trying to have, it wasn't my type of fun. I was just trying to survive. Like, look, let me get up out of here. So anyway, so on that last day, the challenge of going up in altitude, I don't know if anybody's ever done that, but if you're going up in altitude, it's going to challenge your lungs if you have two healthy lungs. So if you have any kind of compromises to your respiratory system to go up in the mountains, in that elevation, and then you have this extra weight, on you, it was very challenging. So I even got to the point where I remember starting at 25. I don't remember all the numbers in between, but I got down to one. But I know I counted all the numbers. I'm just sharing this with you all. So I started off with 25, and I'm like, God, give me 25 steps and 25 breaths. Breaths help me to move forward. I just started praying it, like, God, give me 24 breaths, give me 24 steps. And it was getting slower and slower and slower. And I remember getting down to the number one. I'm just like, God, just give me one step, give me one breath. Give me one step, give me one breath. And it came down to that in order for me to get up to the top of that mountain. But I did it. I made it. I made it to the top of the mountain. So now we're going, we turned around and we're going down on the descent. So this was the day of snow school. So that was when we were at the highest peak that we were going to camp out at. And the other ones chose their adventure to go further to the top of the mountain. So, and remember, I learned how to self-arrest. That's important, y'all. That's important. That's important. That is important. So on the descent, as we're going down, things were a lot lighter. We have eaten some more, so we've gotten rid of some more weight of the things, that we were carrying. So, it was a lot better going down because the pressure is off, coming off of your lungs. Well, it's getting warmer as we're going down. So it's colder at the top of the mountain. So, there's more snow. But y'all remember I had to walk across that river in the beginning. That was at the bottom. So now we're going back down. We're going back down the mountain. And so thank you so much for liking the live, Ty. So as we're going down the mountain, I don't know if this was the first day that we were descending or the second day. But we get to a point on the mountain, and again, shout out to Mike Riley, because that was my savior. Mike, he looked out for us. And he was so cool. He was like the coolest white boy. Like, he was just so cool. He would just fall back and say, well, let's see how it'll go. Let's see. Like, he wouldn't try to help you figure it out, but he would support you as you figured it out, which was really an excellent teacher. But anyway, so he was in the back, with me. We get to a point on the mountain, so we going down. We got our young guys who thought everything was an adventure. So they slid down this side. I wasn't trying to slide. I was too old. I told you I was 49. Like, look, I'm just trying to come out of here alive. Y'all, this is kind of fun. Y'all having this kind of fun that people end up unalive. No, I don't want this. So we trying to get down. So the young guys having fun, holding on to branches and doing all, doing the stuff that, strong young men do. But anyway, I wasn't trying to do that. My foot slipped on the mountain. Now we in the mountains for real. We are in the mountains for real. My foot slips on a part coming down. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's Uzair. Thank you so much. So my foot slips on the mountain, and all I could think was, Lord, do not let me die out here like this. Right, John? I'm gonna tell you my exact thought. Like, Lord, don't let me die out here trying to hang with these white people. Don't let me die out here in the mountains like this. Or okay, I can't say that word, but don't let me be unalive down here. I'm telling you, that's why I was like, hanging with these white people, and my people gonna say, what was she doing in the mountains anyway? Right, John? That's the word. That's the word. What was she doing out there in the mountains anyway? So as these are thoughts that's going through my head. So as I'm going down, and I'm thinking like, okay, if you ever saw Set It Off, that was one of my favorite movies. When Cleo was in that car and she was like, think, 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 think. When they went under that tunnel, that's literally what was going through my head. Like, think, 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 think. Self arrest was what I thought. Remember, I had just learned it the day before in snow school, but I wasn't sliding on snow. I was slipping on mud. I flipped myself over. I grabbed my axe and I reached to dig it into. Yep, it's called self-arrest. I reached to dig it into the mountain, but I wasn't able to pull it out fast enough. So I had to reach and grab a branch because I was sliding so fast. But I was sliding feet first. So I didn't get a chance to pull my whole, but I knew about the self-arrest. So I grabbed onto a branch with my elbow. So if you can imagine, so think about just swinging your arm above your head and hooking your arm on a branch. So now I'm hanging by my elbow. Yeah, my elbow was bent and it's hooked onto a branch, and I felt my shoulder go. I was like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "My shoulder is broke. My shoulder is broke. My shoulder is broke." So I'm just hanging there, right? I'm hanging there. So I didn't get a chance to pull my axe all the way out. It was some straight up Tarzan. It was some straight up Tarzan stuff. So while I'm there, now I got to figure this thing out. And so Mike was behind me. So and Mike was behind me, so he was able to slide himself down to come down on the side of me. He didn't want to touch me. He didn't want to move me because he saw what I didn't see, but he didn't tell me. And I'm gonna tell you what he saw. He saw what, so he didn't touch me. He just talked me through it. He was like, just breathe. He was like, breathe. He was like, stay there. He said, do not move your body, move your feet. He said, what would you do? So also in snow school, they showed us how to create like steps basically in the mountain in the snow. And you have to like kind of dig with the side of your foot to create like a little divot in the mountain until you can put your toes and your heel in it, and you will turn it into a step, basically is what it is. So he was like, use your feet. So again, Mike saw something that I didn't see, that my adrenaline was protecting me from. He didn't touch me. He told me, don't move, keep your body close to the mountain. And, he was like, make some steps. So I started, digging my feet in. So by the time I was able to put my foot into the front of the mountain, the top of my foot into the hole that I dug, I felt what he saw. There was a branch in my hip. It wasn't huge, but he saw it and he didn't want to move me because I felt it, because I had to move off of it once I turned around, because I was just I'm stuck on the side, and and that's why he didn't want me to move, because I would have been more concerned with that pain than trying to get out of there. So anyway, so yeah. And this is me, just remembering this. This is 9 years ago, right? So once I turned around, and then I felt, that pain, So again, I got my arm up there. He told me, don't let that go until you get stable, on my arm. And I just knew my shoulder was gone. I knew my shoulder was gone, but I self-arrested with my arm. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Full of mud, full of mud. But Mike talked me through. Oh my God, he was so calm. He talked me through it, and so I made my way around. And then, I was able to, dig my toes in and then climb my way on down and then slide down. I got down to the bottom. So then, he checked, my hip and all that. So, so it wasn't a huge hole, but it was enough. It was significant enough. And I had to get patched up and all that kind of stuff, right? So we had to do some, medicine woman, Dr. Quinn medicine woman. So anyway, so I was able to, to move on. I had to, switch my backpack to one side and just tie the strap around my midsection, right? So I couldn't wear it on my shoulder, because at the time I didn't know. I just knew the shoulder was in pain. I didn't know, if it was dislocated or not. We're in Asia now, so I'm at a work assignment. And so, we went on through, we made it on through, I'm limping, I got, both of my sides kind of jacked up, the hip on one side, the shoulder on the other. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But I survived. But remember though, John, I had just learned how to self-arrest, so I was straight. I knew I had to save myself. But just think, had I not learned that, no. But actually, John, thank God, it was not dislocated. It was not dislocated. I thought it was, but it wasn't. Because when we got back to camp, and they did, all of the manipulation, all that. It wasn't. I was just in pain. I was just in pain. That was it. Yep, it wasn't dislocated. It wasn't broken. Thank God. Thank God. My hip had the little hole in it. It had the little patch, so I had the scar. Yeah, that self-arrest was right on time, and I just learned it the day before. I'm learning it for the doggone snow mountain, and I had to use it in the mud, which was good. Ain't they say, I got it out the mud. So yeah. So anyway, so then on the descent, so things were looking up. So I'm like, yeah, now I'm turning to a big G now. I'm a big G now. Look, I done slid down the mountain. I could have been under. I mean, because literally, if you look down, I was on a literal mountain, and I could have went on down and slid on down the mountain. But yeah, but like I said, shout out to Mike Riley. Mike was the dude. Mike was the dude. He made sure that I was okay. And so towards the end. So now I'm just gonna get to the end. A lot of other things happen in between that's not really significant about this self care talk that we're talking about. But towards the end, so the last mile of that whole thing, yeah, Mike the big G. Yeah, Mike, man, listen, he saved me going in that first day when I overheated and coming out when I slipped down that mountain. Yeah, Mike, yeah, he had my back. If nobody else on that trip had my back, it was Mike. Hey, now that I had to trust him with my life. I had to trust him with my life. And then what's good is Mike was the one who taught me how to self-arrest. Hey, look at God. Look at God. So anyway, so the pinnacle of the trip was at the very end. We walk alone. So you walk the last mile alone, because remember we'd have been out in the wilderness. It's just been the 10 of us, trying to get to know one another, and just even having feelings, or just me with the lack of representation and not really making true connections on that level, but I made connections on another level, just on humanity alone. Donna was my tent mate. Shout out to Donna. Me and her were the one that was the EMT that had diabetes, that we we survived. We were able, to feed one another. We were able to, look out for one another in that respect. And then Mike was holding it down the whole time. So I did learn. I learned a lot. While I had to continue to learn this new space to take care of myself, I also had to be responsible for other people. So the last mile, everybody walks alone. And I think that that's such a good thing to put in something that was so intense, because those 10 days were, I mean, they were Lord Jesus. They were Lord. So the very last mile, after we did all that hiking, everybody walks alone. So the first person starts off and they get like anywhere between a 15 or 20-minute head start. And you're not rushing. It's just your last mile. It's your last mile to decompress about the experience that you had when you were in there. Just to think about and reminisce about, who you were when you went into the space, what you learned about yourself, while you were there, and who you are coming out of the space. And, the first person goes, they get like a 15, 20-minute head start. Then the second person goes, and then until all of us were out. But the very last mile, you walk by yourself. And to me, that was one of the most significant parts of that experience, because I was able to, just what they said, decompress. Like, what the like, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe this story. If I wasn't there and experienced, because why was I learning about bear protocol? I don't want to know about no bear protocol, and why bears don't like to hear the human voice singing. I ain't want to know that. Why am I walking around with bear spray? Why do I have a can of aerosol for a bear? Why am I up here with the bears? But anyway, yeah. So yeah, but I did learn something. So we get back, and so we have to get into this van. So this is where it gets funny. We back, right, John? We get back to civilization. So, our last campsite was base, like it was back on the ground again. So our last campsite, but we had to get into this van. The bears say we can't sing. Yeah, they don't. It's something about our vocal cord. Like, they don't like. First of all, they don't like our smell. The bears don't like our smell. They don't like our voice. But it's something about when our voices are in the singing mode. I was sitting there listening like, why am I learning? I'm from the city. I don't want to know about no bear. But yeah, it's something about that irritates them. So don't be singing around the bears. I'm just saying, don't sing no James Brown. Yeah, don't sing around the bears. So anyway, so we had to get in this van. We drive back into town. It's a little small. Remember, we're in the upper Washington state. Yeah. So we had to go to this little mini mart type store. So think Cracker Barrel side of the road, not real Cracker Barrel, because Cracker Barrel, you look and you see all of this, stuff that's reminiscent, but just think Cracker Barrel style, but not the real Cracker Barrel, and it's at the side of the road. We walked in that store. Now remember, we'd have been out there. Now I washed up and I washed my clothes. We only had to we had to bring two of everything, like 2 pair of socks, 2 pair of panties, like that kind of stuff. Some people I ain't seen put no water nowhere, and I had my wipes, so I used to be down inside my sleeping bag washing up, wash my underwear out every day. They used to laugh at me. Well, yeah, that's Robin. Well, she has to hang her undies out. Listen, y'all know we only got 2 pair of panties, and your tail, you walk around with your tail with them 2 pair of panties all them days. I washed out. Every day. Every day. If I didn't have it on, I was washing it out, because we only had like 2 outfits, like 2 complete outfits. But anyway, so yeah, so I done washed the best I could, with my wipes and, those sorts of things. But we go into this place, the way them people turned around and looked at us. There was some stanky people. When we were in the van, we had to roll down the window. So imagine, I told you we had a 19-year-old, two 20-year-olds, and a 21-year-old. And, usually young men don't care. The more they stink, the more proud they are. So just imagine we're going into this place after we'd been out in the wilderness. And, we ain't had no mirrors. We didn't have no mirrors. So who knows what we were looking like. So we just kind of relied on one another, to to look decent, and then who was really trying it? We was trying to survive. But the way them people looked at us, they were looking like, oh my God, like who went and picked these strays up and brought them in the store? It was it was bananas. It was bananas. But that was one of those things where, in terms of me making sure that on a daily basis, so this is what the point is for those of y'all who are just joining, welcome to the Self-Care Suite. We're just talking about, honoring your temple. How are you able to take care of yourself, even if you have to take care of others? And so I'm sharing a story about when I became an advanced certified hike leader and the adventure or the excursion or the expedition that I went on in the upper Washington State wilderness, where I had to take care of myself. I had to rely on myself, but I also had to rely on others to take care of me. And these were others who I did not know. That was my first time meeting them right there on the spot when we had to go out there and basically be in these life-threatening situations. But we survived. We made it. We made it out. We thrived. I did finish the Adventure Gap, on the trip. And I would love for you all. I mean, even if you don't read the book, the name of the documentary is called The American Ascent. It is phenomenal. The American Ascent. Hey, Crystal. It's called The American Ascent, but it's about, or you look up Expedition Denali. They went to summit Mount Denali, which is the highest peak. I think it's the highest peak in North America. But yeah, look it up. So the name of the book is The Adventure Gap. The author is James Edward Mills. The name of the documentary is American Ascent. It's really good. It's American Ascent, and the name of the group was Expedition Denali. And this was a group of all black mountaineers who went to do what people said they couldn't do. And so that was my saving grace. That was my saving grace. When I was there, that was a part of my self-care. Like I just bars. My saving grace when I was there was a part of my self-care. But if I didn't do nothing else, they knew I was going, and I had my flashlight. I would put my sleeping bag over my head. I mean, I'm reading that book. In the dark before daybreak. Because in Washington, it's like super, super dark right before daybreak. Like it stays light a long time, but it's super dark right before daybreak. And then it's like the sun just comes out, or the daylight, even if it's not the sun, just comes out. How does self-care work? Self-care works in terms of you making sure that you are putting what you need. So putting your needs, even your wants, in front of what you would do for someone else. And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you don't have to feel guilty about it. You don't have to feel guilty about it at all. But yeah, y'all, so that was, so I came out. Yeah, I came out. I survived. And, as soon as I made my phone call, I was like, how people get locked up. Like, I had to make my one phone call. So I made, my phone call. Then I saw, the emails when I came, back to a computer. At the time I did, I wasn't by a computer. What if you married? Same thing. You got to take care of yourself in order to take care of your spouse. But when I saw, and then we were on social media at the time. Yeah. So when I saw the post, one of the posts said, "Thank God, y'all, she made it out alive." I was like, what the? So did people, I'm glad they prayed for me though, but that was one of the social media posts. And then, that post got a lot of traction. I was like, thank God, Coach Robin made it out alive. But that was definitely an adventure. So when I say something that sounded like a good idea at the time, it was a good idea at the time. And even looking back on it, I learned so much, like I said, about just humanity. I learned so much about myself. Now, when I choose it, just to be going out there, hanging out in the wilderness, learning about what bears like and what they don't like, and, eating cheese and bread. No, I'm not going to choose. And digging cat holes and going in the bush. No. That is not my idea of fun. That is not my idea of relaxation. None of that. Would I just choose that to go and do that? But with the skills that I learned, I'm good. I appreciate it. So if I had to go and, or if I got caught up, in the wilderness, I wouldn't necessarily panic not knowing what to do, because I do have those skills. I have some skills to keep myself safe. to keep myself safe and to keep myself alive. Because we learned about, like, how to, look at different plants and, like what could you use, branches for, like just different things. We learned, a lot of different skills. So that for that, I'm grateful. I am eternally grateful. But yeah, that ain't my type of fun. So some people actually go and do that, and they like that, and I'm just wondering. But when we got flushing toilets, why you want to be out there digging cat hole? I don't know. But then, with the way, look, we in America. I'm just saying. I live in America, but with where America going, that might not be so bad. It might not be so bad to get out there. It might not be so bad to get out there. And you know what? I'm going to live in the woods. I'm going to survive, in the woods, because this over here is trash. Like what we got going on over here is trash. But would I say, oh, I want to get up and go backpacking? Now, what I can say, now backpacking with my community. Again, I was not represented at all, on that trip. And I'm okay, because, it was different cultures, different nationalities, that came together. There was a purpose for that. It was by design, in terms of, thank you so much, Ricky Ricks. So that was by design. So that was just a journey that I had to go through, and I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the experience that I had, on that journey. But if I could do that with my community, can I backpack? It wasn't that it was so difficult, the hiking part of it, even the ascending, it wasn't that. It's for me. So my bottom line of where I'm drawing the line, just let me, if you can bring me back out so I can go use the bathroom and flush the toilet, I'm good. And then I can go back. Like that part of it, I'm okay with. I'm okay with that. So it would be one of those like kind of sort of backpacking, but I don't have to be living in the wilderness like by choice. I'm just not, unless some things go down. I'm like, okay, let me find me a nice little spot over here in this corner of the woods, and I'm okay. I'll be able to survive, and I'll be able to save myself if need be. So that's one of those things. Thank you all so much. First of all, my talkers, thank you for liking the live. If any of you all have shared the live, thank you for being here. Listening to my experience, because that was definitely an experience. And I don't know, have I told an audience the whole thing? I don't know. I think I've told parts. I think I've told parts of it. I don't know, but that was interesting. That was interesting for me. Now and I'm thinking about it and I'm reminiscing, but it's been almost 10 years. Okay, now these things going bump in the night down here. What's in the morning? This has been off. Hello, hello, hello. But thank you all for listening, and my tubers, thank you all so much for hanging in there. I know sometimes we get some people who come in. Yes, it's a beautiful view. This is actually a work site where I am, and I just decided to come out. So it's early in the morning. It's before daybreak. I don't know if you all can see the stars. Oh, yeah, my tubers can see the stars. Y'all see the stars? Talkers, I don't know. Let me see. Let me tilt y'all up. Can y'all see the stars? Yeah, okay. Talkers. Yeah, the stars are out. Okay, I can show y'all them trees. It's so black back there. Fire star. No, no, I'm in Asia. You can see the star. Okay, wait, let me walk y'all. Okay, I'm gonna walk both of y'all back to here to the back so y'all can see. Nope, it's not Miami. Wait, I don't want to slip down so y'all can see. Look, you see how black it is out there? Y'all see how black it is out there? Look at that. It's black out there. It's black out there. Indonesia. Look at that. See, so now we gotta look up. There we go. Whew. There's some light. That's why I couldn't turn the camera back this way. See that? Yes, so look at that. That's what's down. Oh, there's a little light down there. There's a little light down there. Yep, but that's it. But I figured that, the pool, that's the view. That's a more aesthetically pleasing view. So again, if you are not following me and you are a talker, please go ahead and hit that follow button. If you are a tuber, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because we are going to be going live. And so this is like one of those, oh, you said a whole lot. Yes. A view and some cardio. Yes. So we are going to be going live. So we have some adventures planned. Some of my people just landed. They sent me messages that they just made it, through. And so we are going to be going live. So it's going to be kind of I'm going to say random because I'm not really able to schedule it because I'm not really sure when I'm going to be able to, pop the cameras out in the different spaces that we'll be in. But if you have your notifications on, you will be able to see it. You will be able to see us going live for some of our adventures. But, I do have some people that are coming who have decided to invest in their self care. They decided to invest in their wellness. And so you're going to be seeing the self care suite live and in action out here in these streets. We're going to get out here in these streets, and show you some things. But, this property is beautiful and you'll be able to see it during the day. But I wanted to come on and keep my commitment to the 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, because all this math I got to do just to tell time. But I knew, to get this time. And so we will be in another country for next Sunday. And I'll go live from there. But I think it'll be night too. It'll be night too. But next Sunday I'm gonna go live from there too. So yeah, so turn on your notifications and make sure that you guys come back and that you tune in. But we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun while we're here. So but this is my work for the next week. So yeah, I like this work site. I like this work site. And so we're gonna be doing this, and this is the journey that we're going on. So if you want to see this Melanin Matters movement, go global, then yeah, make sure you check in with us. And so if you're just coming in, thank you so much for joining in. I am Coach Robin Renee. I am your hostess in the Self Care Suite. And this is where we come on Sundays, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, to kick off our shoes, relax our feet, and discuss the many ways to wellness. We also share sustainable, useful, low cost, or no cost self care strategies because financial challenges should not stop us from investing in our wellness account every single day. There should be something we should be able to do. Thank you so much for the heart, me, Crystal. There's something you should be able to do for yourself every single day in terms of your self-care. Even if it's just taking a break to breathe and practice on some mindful breathing, that's self-care. If that's all you got for the day, that's a low-cost self-care technique, and it's actually very, very beneficial to your body. So don't shortchange some of the small things. So some of the small things give you some of the greatest results. You said don't go. Don't go. Well, I'm gonna shut this part of it down because my people just came in. I know they probably at the airport talking about she ain't responding. So I do have to I have to connect with them because some of them, and this is their first time coming through, and I don't want them to panic. But right now I know they're in the customs line, so they ain't going too far yet. They're not going too far, so I do have to check in on them. So they have to get through and get their paperwork done. But turn on your notifications so that way. So it's going to be night for you all when it's day for us. So I don't know. If you want to see some of the adventures. The lives are actually saved, so I'll probably just take some snippets out of them and just use them like as highlights. Now my tubers, your stuff stays up. So my talkers, you got to come over to the tube because my tube videos stay up. I keep those up. So if you want to see it, and if you missed anything, if you're just coming in, and you're going to go over to the tube, so you're able to see the experience. Live, the action experience without edits. Well, other than like intros and that kind of stuff, I may, edit something like that out. But yeah, but it won't be like a 30-second clip or a 1-minute clip. You'll actually be able to see the whole thing. So yeah, so talkers, make your way on over to the Tizoo because this girl is on the Tizoo. If you make your way over to the tube, then you'll be able to see more of our adventures in playlists. So we have them listed. So you can just go and you can click on, different countries or different cities or different states that we've been in. So I like it. So what I will say about the environment, it's humid, but I like it. Like that doesn't bother me. Like some people like dry heat. I'm okay either dry heat or humid heat. So if humidity or if you have challenges like respiratory challenges, that may be a challenge for you. But for me, I like it. Yeah. So I do like it. So it's warm. So yesterday it was 84. I think it's like 84 degrees yesterday. So yeah, I do like it. You had the same melanin as me. All right. So actually, John, the name of my movement is Melanin Matters. And so we're going global with the Melanin Matters movement. And so we're just selecting different things. And so we will go to, we've been to Belize. So we will go to, different countries, just to make sure, that we are tapping into different spaces because they need to know. They need to know that we matter. They need to know that we matter. And I'm going to do my job to make sure that I'm continuing to put forth the efforts that are necessary to show, to show the world, we're going global with this thing. So yeah, we would love to have you along for observing us, right? So you can cheer us on. You can cheer us on. You can cheer us on. Thank you so much, Crystal. House of Flow, are you still on here? Yeah, I think you're still on here. Yeah, thank you so much for liking the live, y'all. But thank you all so much for joining. I'm glad you all hung out, and I hope you were able to get something from my experience. Okay, okay, it's things dropping and flying now. Y'all hear them? They're getting loud now. Y'all hear 'em? Y'all hear the birds getting up? Don't play. Don't play with me. You said what's that? I can't see them, but it was a big bird. A big bird that flew across the top. I don't know what type of bird it was, but can you hear him? You said, Crystal, you said time to go. John said, bro, it's freaky. He was sitting down, but he flew up. I think they are starting to wake up around here. I think they are. They actually have a bird sanctuary. I'll take y'all over there too. Yeah, there is a bird sanctuary that's here, which is beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. So I don't know if that's one of the birds or not, but I do know they have a bird sanctuary. So we'll do an actual tour because it's difficult to see at night because of the fact that you waking the whole neighborhood up, right? All loud out here. Um, so it's difficult to see at night because there are not a lot of lights. So I'll be able to do it during the day. But if I do it during the day, it's going to be night. If you're not, on this side of the globe, but it'll be night on the U.S. side. But again, it's going to stay posted. So even if, so John, so say for instance, if you're not awake when we do it when it's day here, those are going to stay live. I keep them posted when I do the lives on the tube. They stay up, so you'll be able to go back and see. Yep. You say same timing. Oh, same. Okay, good. All right. So you're good. So you're good. So you'll be able to see. But thank you all. I mean, does anybody have anything that you want to share? If you got any questions about anything? Again, I do appreciate you all for coming in and for chilling and for hanging out and for being so interactive at this time of morning for me. I'll be here for I think we got like 10 days or something like that. So it's not long. It's not a long-term thing. So we're, going around and, this is one of those work assignments I'm good with. I'm good. Send me. Put me in, put me in, put me in, put me in. Yeah. So this is one of those things, that I can do because I'm also able to not only, see other parts of the world for myself, but I'm also able to just guide other people along their wellness journey so that they can see. You said it was funny and good. Yeah. If I would have told the whole story with some more House of Flow Wellness, but yeah, thank you so much. But just, so that other people can see that, okay, John, 1 second. So that other people can see the things they can do to invest in their wellness. So in fitness stuff. So I consider myself, no, I don't live here. I live in the U.S. I've been a fitness enthusiast, basically since I was, hey, Australia, how are you? Since I was a little kid. I started team sports as a cheerleader, 8 years old. Was that second grade or whatever that is? Yeah, so I've been, involved in organized sports. I swam, gymnast. So swimming was more of a leisure thing, even though I could have done it competitively, but I didn't want to because then I didn't want to lose my desire for it. So my teams, the competitive teams, was cheer and gymnastics. So why am I not in the pool? Because I'm talking to y'all. Pablo, I'm talking to y'all. I'm talking to y'all. So fitness since I was a little kid. Professionally, I became a personal trainer in 2008. Yeah, you got me thinking, John. Yeah, I think it was 2008. 2008 was when I became a personal trainer. Then I did the whole group fitness thing, and so I, dabbled in some cycling, some water fitness. The twin. Okay. But your age is 19. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So you sub for some classes, yeah. And so after I did, all the group fitness stuff and the personal training stuff, I merged more into a wellness space. So at first it was like just fitness, like the physical aspect of it. But then, as I, started, having children, just getting a little older and just understanding more about the body, it morphed more over into a wellness space. And then that's how I ended up in the low impact wellness space. And now I'm with Pilates. So I dabbled, with yoga for, a brief time. But as a teacher, yoga wasn't the journey for me. But as you feel, yeah, a lot of responsibilities. So but as a practitioner, I can do that. Like I can go into someone's yoga class and allow somebody to guide me, through my journey, if I decided to include that as far as my wellness. But it wasn't my journey for me as a teacher. And then Pilates, how I got into Pilates was I was actually seeking some additional CECs for my personal trainer and group fitness certification. And I was at a conference and I just picked it. Like it wasn't no science behind it or nothing like, oh, I read about that. It wasn't nothing like that. It just sounded interesting while I was there on the spot. So I picked it. I went in there, and then, the teacher I had, shout out to Abby Apel. At the time, she was at Equinox in Miami. She was in South Beach in Miami at the time. I don't know if she's still there. Yeah, I'm a Pilates teacher. Yep, I'm a Pilates teacher. And so that's how I got introduced to it. And then once I learned more about the method, learned about, how it was created, the person who created it, it resonated with me even more. And then when I saw our underrepresentation, even though we have a significant history in the modality, that's what motivated me to start the Melanin Matters movement. And so we are here today. And that's what I'm doing, impacting making a global impact in the Pilates industry, while shifting the narrative of what Black wellness looks like. Because a lot of times we're just not represented in those spaces. And I just want people to know that, you have a Pilates body. There's not a certain body type that you have to have in order to do Pilates. If you have a body and you do Pilates, you have a Pilates body. And I want people to understand that, and then not be intimidated by it. So Pilates is a modality of exercise. So if you think of physical therapy, Pilates fits more with that. A lot of people align it with yoga. The similarities between Pilates and yoga is that they're both low impact exercise modalities. I'll say that. But philosophically and foundationally, they're different. Yoga has more of a spiritual foundation. Pilates is more physical because the creator of Pilates had some health challenges, and he created the modality for himself to become stronger, to develop his lungs a little more. He had like respiratory issues and things. And so he developed it for that reason. And then it has spread, from his creation. But then, people come along and they grab it and they take it and they, monopolize and colonize and do all the things. We ain't gonna get on that though, John. We ain't gonna get on that. But people come and do their thing and they switch it and they change it into something that it was not intended to be in the first place. And so now, we're just doing our part to, kind of put it back on track that, this was a healing modality that was created to help people who could sometimes end up in some of the most dire spaces, in their life, physically, emotionally, excuse me, and psychologically, and he wanted to make sure that people would be able to learn how to take care of themselves through exercise and through movement. And so that's where we are. That's where we are with Pilates. And so right now, this is the space that I'm in. This is what's resonating with me, and I'm going to continue on this journey. For as long as if it was for, thank you so much, as long as it's still appearing to be for me, and as long as people, oh, excuse me. And as long as people continue to allow me to be their guide, that's what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be. And so I do have some people, that's been holding me down for some years, and I appreciate them. Shout out to my subscribers on the talk, and on the tube, my subscribers on the tube, as well as those who have been rolling with me in my virtual studio for the past 5 years in the virtual studio. So this is where we are. This is where we are. So thank you all so much for joining. Thank you so much for liking the live, for sharing it if you share it, for interacting in the comments. And looks like the sun is making its way up around these parts. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the gift, Crystal. Thank you so much. And so again, like I said, I got to check with my people because they got in, let me see, about 30 minutes ago. They're probably still in line, but still I got to check in on them. So you can see that, yep, the sun is coming up. So yeah, so I got to check in on my people, make sure that they are okay, as they navigate through this section of their journey, and then they will be here a little bit later. And yeah, so again, turn on your notifications, whether you're on the talk or whether you're on the tube, turn on your notifications, and we're gonna be popping in and popping up, and we hope you all enjoy this journey with us. And if you miss it, if you're on the talk, then you can always go over to the tube, because those are gonna live in that space. They'll be put into a playlist, and then you can just come over and laugh with us. You can even laugh at us if that's what moves you, but don't be playing plan. But also, no matter which platform you're on, I would greatly appreciate if you can interact with the content, when you see it, because that does help me as a content creator. It also allows the algorithm to see that people are interested, in this, and it'll push it out to more people who are interested in what we have going on. And yeah, it'll be because you helped me out. It'll be because you helped me out. That's all we have to give. Yep. So on that note, y'all, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna let y'all go so I can check in on my people. So I got one more. So I got two now. One last night, two now, and then I got one more on tomorrow coming in. And then the crew is all here. DG1234 official. Good morning, your dear friend. Okay. Hey, India, welcome in from India. So we're signing out. Tubers, it takes them a while to process this, so it may be a few hours before you can come up if you want to see it from the beginning. Yes, this is a very nice place. This is my workspace for the next week and a half. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. Thank you so much for being excited for my adventures. Yeah, I'm excited that you all are going. Yep. I'm trying not to say that word, John, because then they might, it's the posse. Really, it's the posse. That's what I call us for real. We're the Pilates posse. So the posse will be here. The rest of the posse will be here. We are the Pilates posse, and we're holding it down for them black bodies in Pilates, for them brown faces in those spaces where they try to close us out. Yeah. So yeah, so we got adventures coming up, y'all. So I'm gonna sign off. Okay, thank you all so much. So join. Yep, thank you. So make sure you subscribe and you hit the notifications, y'all. Take care. Peace. I'm signing out.